So we're about to head into the new year, and this is a time where people like to make New Year's resolutions. And I think it's a good time to sort of stop and reflect on our life and reevaluate and set new goals. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 12 things to give up in 2023 that will enhance your life. So the first one is staying in the comfort zone. So when we stay in the comfort zone, we're in our safe little box, nothing really changes in our life because we aren't growing or evolving. When you stay in your safe little box, it's almost like you end up being stuck. So I challenge you to get out of the comfort zone next year. And because when you do this, again, you grow and evolve, but also when you step into the unknown, that is when the magic happens. That is when changes will be made in your life. This is when your life can level up and improve. So challenge yourself not to stay in the comfort zone for 2023. Now, the second thing is to stop hanging around toxic, negative, or unsupportive people. And this is because whoever you're surrounding yourself with is going to affect your own personal energy field. If you're hanging around toxic, negative, and unsupportive people, that is just going to drag your energy down to these low vibrational states. And really, it's just a waste of your energy being around these people. So if you know these sorts of people, you have them around you, and you decide to kind of step back, cut them out, keep them at arm's length, what you're doing is you're opening up new room for better people to come in. And this is when you can have positive, supportive people coming in that will completely shift your life just by being around these people. Because when you surround yourself with positive people, that is going to affect your energy field as well. And that's going to help bring you up into high vibrational frequencies. The third thing is self-doubt. Give up the self-doubt. Don't let self-doubt stop you from taking action. Now, what helped me is actually understanding self-doubt, right? So self-doubt comes from the ego. The ego is the mind and the ego is the false self. And so like in the first one, I said staying in the comfort zone, you need to give that up, right? But realize that whenever you go to step out of the comfort zone, that is when the self-doubt steps in, because the ego's job is to keep you safe. And so when you're in your safe little box, you don't have the self-doubt. When you try to step out of that safe little box, that is when the ego steps in with self-doubt to stop you from stepping out, to keep you in the familiar. So when you understand that self-doubt's coming from the ego and the ego's just trying to keep you safe, I felt like it was easier for me to have that understanding. So whenever I experience self-doubt, I understand it and I don't let it stop me from taking action. So that's the key, is don't let self-doubt stop you from taking action. Realize it's just the ego trying to keep you safe, and it's normal. It happens to everyone. Like all the people that you see that are successful, they experience self-doubt as well. But the thing is they did not let it stop them from taking action. Now, the fourth thing to give up is to stop seeking external validation and approval from other people. This is because it kind of puts you in a vulnerable position when you seek validation and approval from others. Now, I was doing this, but I was unaware that I was doing it, right? So awareness is key. Simply by being aware of things, this is where we can make the changes. So I wasn't actually aware that I was this people pleaser type that was seeking validation and approval from others. And then once I realized that, I started working on myself and realized like your identity is flexible. So you can change and mold your identity however you want, whenever you want. And you can have what's called an identity shift. So for me, it was like learning to shed the people-pleasing mentality from my identity. And the key here is to become your own source of validation and approval. When you become your own source of validation and approval, This puts you in a powerful position because it means you don't need anyone. Therefore, you won't need to people please. Therefore, you won't have problems with setting boundaries. So learn to become your own source of validation and approval and stop seeking it from others. The fifth thing to give up in 2023 is gossiping, criticizing, and judging others. This is just negative, low vibrational behavior that is going to drag your energy down, and it's just going to keep you in a negative state, a negative mindset, negative thoughts, negative feelings. So don't engage in that sort of behavior because it is a waste of your energy. And don't hang around people that do that as well. Like, you know, you might be hanging out with someone and then they're trying to gossip about someone else to you. Learn to shut those conversations down. Don't engage in it. Don't engage in low vibrational behavior. The sixth thing to give up is negative self-talk. I feel like it's quite easy to have negative self-talk because we do live in a negative, world. And sometimes our negative self-talk, we may not even actually be aware of it. This could be running on autopilot. So it's really good to become mindful of your thought patterns. So simply by observing your thoughts, you'll start realizing what sort of stories you're telling yourself, what sort of self-talk you have. You'll start becoming more mindful if you do have negative self-talk. And so drop that for 2023. Try and develop that awareness. So if you do have negative self-talk, you can catch yourself out. And then once you catch yourself out, you quickly shift it to positive self-talk. Say something to yourself positive, like something positive to yourself 3 times to counteract the negative self-talk. And make it a goal for 2023 to only have positive self-talk. And it will probably be something you do have to work at. But that is one of my goals for 2023, is to completely drop negative self-talk and focus only on having positive self-talk and just become aware when you do have negative self-talk. The 7th thing to give up is impatience. We live in a world where people want instant gratification, and we need to learn to have patience, especially when it comes to building a life that's going to make us happy, or manifesting things. Sometimes things can actually take time, but we're living in a society where everyone's impatient and they want it immediately. And this is where it can butcher up the vibration, the energy dynamics. It can stop your manifestations from happening. It can put you in a negative state. So give up impatience, learn to become patient. And one of the things that helps you to become patient is to learn to love the process. When you're enjoying the process rather than what you're going to get at the end, the trophy prize, the money, the dream house, the flash car, learn to actually enjoy the process instead and focus on the journey of it. And that will help you to be patient. Number 8, the 8th thing to give up in 2023 is fear of the unknown. This is because in the unknown, that is when the magic happens. If you stay in the known, you're going to feel stuck in life. Like not much is really happening, not much is changing, your life's not really leveling up. It's because you're staying in the known. So get rid of the fear of the unknown, embrace the unknown, and realize in the unknown, that is when the magic happens. That is when changes and transformations happen. So embrace it. The 9th thing to give up is blaming others. You do not get anywhere blaming others, right? And I learned this from Gary Vaynerchuk, which is accountability. It's really powerful. It's a game changer. When you take responsibility for everything that's happening in your life, you are no longer the victim. Okay, so there's Gary says something like, when you point the finger at someone else, you're actually pointing 3 back at you. Or he'll say, like, instead of pointing the finger, point the thumb. It's powerful. When you stop blaming others and start taking responsibility for everything, your life will improve. Now, number 10, the 10th thing to give up is stop wasting money on dumb shit. So a lot of us blow money on just dumb things. For example, for me, it's been Uber Eats. I got into a really bad habit of ordering Uber Eats back in March, and it was because I had an injury to that was pretty bad. Like I couldn't get up and cook myself tea, right? So I had to rely on ordering Uber Eats like almost daily for a month. And it was expensive, right? But what happened is I got into the habit of it where I'm just like now constantly wasting money on Uber Eats because of the convenience. So ask yourself this: why are you spending money on this item? What's the real meaning behind it? Like, for example, are you buying labeled clothing so you look good to other people? So you can show off to other people? Look at me, I can afford these labels. Like ask yourself why you're actually spending this money. And, you know, dumb things could be like ticking up an expensive car. Like you've got a loan from the bank and you've ticked it up because you want to look good to other people. You need to, if you do that sort of thing, you need to stop. You need to stop caring about what other people think, and you need to stop trying to impress other people by what you have and trying to look successful. You need to let all that go. When you stop wasting money on dumb things, then it gives you an opportunity to have money that you can use to build a good life. So for example, I'm building an online business. Down the road, I'm going to be investing money into myself, as in, like, for example, I want to become certified in breath work. So it's like if you don't keep wasting money on dumb shit, it gives you money that you can invest into yourself to level yourself up. So ask yourself, whenever you're buying something, why are you actually spending this money? Do you really need this thing? Is it to show off to other people? Or if you're like me and just wasting it on Uber Eats, like, realize it is a waste of money and you're actually healthier like buying or cooking your own food. So just stop wasting money on dumb shit. Number 11 is to give up anger, resentment, and grudges. This is because it doesn't serve you. It's going to pull your vibration down to low vibrational state. You're going to be in a negative state with negative thoughts and feelings. You're going to feel like a victim. And when you hang on to things like anger and resentment, it can create disease and illness in the body when you're hanging on to these types of emotions. When you forgive and let these things go, your whole energy is going to shift. I know this because I've done it myself. I was really, really good at holding on to grudges. Like, I didn't talk to my family for like a good 10 or so years. I hardly had anything to do with them. And it was because I was holding on to a grudge because of how they treated me, right? And I learned to, after being on my spiritual journey, I learned a lot of valuable information that got me to forgive and let go. So forgiveness is really important, and you need to realize that forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. Like, people try to put this negative outlook on forgiveness, like that person doesn't deserve forgiveness, right, look at what they did to me. It's not about that other person. You don't ever have to speak to that person again. But forgiveness is so that you can release these negative emotions like anger and resentment that are only going to hold you back in life. So realize forgiveness is for you. If you forgive someone, you don't even have to tell them that you forgive them. It has nothing to do with that other person. So let go of anger, resentment, and grudges. You will be much happier and much more high vibrational. And the 12th thing to give up is scrolling social media. So for me, it's like I've learned or realized that, man, I actually get sucked into social media sometimes, and then you don't realize how much time's gone by, and you look at the time and it's like, oh damn, I've been on it way too long. So the other thing about it is we get a lot of these like dopamine hits when we're scrolling, which isn't actually good for us. We can get dopamine hits from other things that are better, like, for example, exercising, right? That's a healthier way to get a dopamine hit. But when you're just scrolling and you're constantly getting these dopamine hits, it's not actually good for your brain. And again, you just waste a lot of time with scrolling. So for me, I'm going to reduce my scrolling on social media. And I even thought about whenever I am going to go on social media, setting a timer. So like, say I have a 10-minute timer on my phone as I'm scrolling, and then once that timer goes off, boom, I have to get off social media. Like, be a bit more, like disciplined with it. Because like I said, it's not actually good for us just to be constantly sitting there scrolling for hours. You're getting all these dopamine hits, you're getting overstimulated. It's not healthy for us. So get off the social media, and if you just do other things, like even just going out in nature, you know, release happy chemicals like dopamine in more healthier ways is the key. I hope you like this video, guys. I hope you got some sort of value out of this. If you did, let me know by giving me a thumbs up. And if you like this sort of content, then subscribe and hit the bell notification. And I hope I see you on the next video. Have an awesome day. Peace.